All right, guys, we are live. Here we go. Immaculate Perceptions Sports Podcast. I am your co-host, Ben. This is Andy and Armando. How are you guys doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. I went to like a esports event last night, which was pretty cool, by this new company called PvP.com. And I had a great time. They had a lot of beer, a lot of good food, but I'm ready to talk some sports.
Excellent. I'm doing well, man. Summer is officially here. I think we just skipped spring in a great big way. And I'm looking forward to the finals. Can't wait to get into that topic. And I'm ready to go, man. Let's do it.
Let's do this.
I was actually in New York this week, up near your neck of the woods there, Armando. And, it's funny you say summer is here because it definitely was not there over the weekend and in the beginning of the week. So I went on Sunday to New York City for a conference, and I had only brought T-shirts and shorts. And let me tell you, that was a huge
mistake.
It was pouring rain. It was freezing. I actually had to go to the store, to Burlington Coat Factory, and buy some jeans and a jacket. So I was like, I couldn't believe in May there are places it's still cold.
And the Northeast is, it's cold up there. Even when it like the start of spring, even in spring it gets cold or hot. I don't know. It's hit or miss, but yeah. What's the consensus on consensus, by the way? I just wanted to ask that.
I never went in, so I don't know.
All right.
I was just there on Monday. I was there on Monday. I left on Tuesday, so I didn't get the media pass approved or whatever, so I should have. I killed CoinDesk on my podcast about it because they're so ridiculous. I hate CoinDesk. But anyway, that's a whole different niche.
That's a whole different thing.
Y'all don't even worry about that.
Yeah, don't worry.
Don't even worry about it. So, let's get into, you guys know that we love to cover spring football here, even though our beloved league, the AAF, folded. There's actually some news this week, and I thought that it actually may, impact the future of one league, and maybe this news might have been a factor in why the AAF died. So, Andy, you want to go over kind of what happened this week for the XFL?
Yeah, so again, I'm sorry, AAF, we loved you. I just want to shout out the AAF Reddit is still going strong with memes and all this stuff. So I've been still on the AAF Reddit checking things out, and it looks like, just wanted to say, I saw a post from the XFL Reddit said, "Hey AAF fans, come over to this Reddit. We're actually going to exist." So anyway, great news for the league, and that goes with broadcasting, because Vince McMahon, the big man. Everyone knows Vince. He made a deal with Disney so Disney is going to be broadcasting on ESPN, ABC, and Fox. We don't know what the schedule it is, but those are the three outlets. Not what were the three outlets for AAF? It was like the B&R Report. There was like
NFL Network and CBS.
Yes, but it was not just. It wasn't CBS. It was like the CBS Sports Network. So
right.
It wasn't a regular. Cable. You had to have like for my DirecTV, I had to have an upgraded package. Yeah, I already have an upgraded package. It was another upgrade above that.
So what this says to me compared to AAF's problem is that this is more accessible broadcasting. This is realistic broadcasting, right? Not that NFL Network, that was probably the best broadcaster for AAF, right? But listen, I
don't think so. The NFL Network
That's true, man.
It's an exclusive channel too. You that doesn't come with your,
that's true,
basic cable package or for most, like I have the upgrade package, like I said, with DirecTV, but then, I have to have that to have the NFL Network and to have Red Zone. But if I want the CBS whatever, I've got to upgrade to the special sports package that has, 400 channels I don't care about. Big shout out to TJ. My friend TJ, he actually works with channel 214 on DirecTV, one of those sports channels that I'd never watch. So thanks, TJ.
Thanks, TJ. And I also have a couple of little tidbits. Basically, there's a rumor that the XFL is talking to Kaepernick, or they're going to reach out to Tebow, Kaepernick, and Johnny Football. What do you guys think of the potential of those three people next spring? Remember, we got a long time before next spring. There's no doubt that they can convince. I think Tebow should do it, honestly.
Tebow won't do it.
He won't do it, but I want to see him do it. But I think
I would love to see it.
Who out of those three are the most realistic? Obviously, Johnny Football probably, but do you think Kaepernick has a chance?
I think it's got a chance. Anything to move numbers and to increase ratings, right? So if people are big, whether you're pro Kaepernick or not, I think those that want to see him back in a league will be excited to see him in the XFL. Those that want to see him get the stuffing knocked out of him because they don't like him will love to see him play in the league for that reason. So it's kind of a win-win for the XFL.
It is. I think though. I do think Johnny Manziel will definitely play. He was in the AAF, and he actually, in his appearances, he played.
He looked
decent.
all right.
He looked
I
okay.
mean,
But it was just, he only got to play one game, I think, or maybe two. So
he played like,
One and a half.
for the best team in the league, the Memphis Express, you know?
So, I think that, he might do okay. Tebow will not do it because Tebow is really seriously trying to get that baseball career, and that would derail it completely. He's
In my opinion, Tebow would bring more of like an excitement than Kaepernick coming in, I think.
Definitely.
Tebow.
People love
Tebow would be a big win for them.
I'm a Georgia fan. I hated Tebow in college, but once he got the pros, like, I loved him. I wanted to. I actually ended up going to the butt fumble game. We've talked about before, Andy. I was at the butt fumble game.
Yes.
I went up there for the Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade with my family and got tickets because I thought before the season that, like, that year Tebow was on the Jets, he'd be starting by then. So that's actually why I got the tickets to the game. But of course, he never even played more than, I think, a couple snaps. But
the Jets were the reason he fell out of football because the Jets are the ones that really were like, this guy is not good, and we can't even play him. So that's it.
Even though they had Mark Sanchez as their quarterback, you can't do worse than Mark Sanchez. I'm sorry, you can't. So
I can't think of Mark Sanchez anymore.
But I think that the only possibility of Tebow getting into the XFL would be if this year he totally hits his baseball ceiling, which is possible. He has not been doing great in AAA. So he's been hitting some home runs, which is pretty valuable in major leagues now. But he may hit a ceiling, and if he thinks he may not be able to continue that career, then there may be a possibility. But I believe he would probably more just go back to broadcasting and just do that. So that's my thoughts on Tebow. Kaepernick is very interesting, though, because, Vince McMahon is very conservative. I think his wife actually ran for office somewhere.
She was on the board with Trump, but now she stepped down or something. She's doing something else, but she's still in politics.
Yeah, so I don't know how Vince McMahon's all about ratings, but like the XFL is kind of like, if you remember what it was before, like that giant American flag at the game, like it was very like, America, fireworks in America,
Yeah.
So because of that, it feels like having Kaepernick is like kind of the face of the league, which a lot of people thought he could become because he's kind of a villain. I don't know if that would line up with what they'd want to do. So
and they have the rule that you have to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I think that was already put in, like Vince said. That's a main rule. That's an actual rule.
Yeah.
I think, isn't in basketball it's a rule? It's a rule in basketball, right?
The rule is you cannot sit. You have to stand.
Right. But I think
going back to Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
But I think overall the XFL has positioned themselves even more so in a better position. First of all, they were smart to do the 2 years instead of the one like AAF. Look at the catastrophe. The AAF was a catastrophe. Yeah. Now, I hope that this succeeds because the XFL doesn't have to rely on the NFL being a developmental football league. That's what the AAF was trying to do. The XFL could be its own league. And maybe they could make a deal and be like, you guys could take players after our season. Or maybe Vince could say, F you, our players in the XFL.
He wants to be a competitor.
Yeah. So maybe it's not going to be like that. Maybe these contracts they're going to sign to play XFL, they're going to have to play through them. They can't just like leave. So we'll see. I also want to give a shout out to the XFL Reddit because I will be sharing this so you guys can get a taste of one of probably the rare sports shows that talk about spring football. It is spring. Oh no, spring's over now. But
no, technically spring does not end until like June 21st or 23rd, something like
and last final tidbit is Daryl Johnson is going to be head of personnel for the Dallas XFL team. So good city for a football team, by the way. So
I like the fact the XFL is putting their teams right in major markets where NFL.
Yeah, Los Angeles too. Right out here. And we'll see what's happening. We got a long way to go, but we're going to be getting a lot of news. I'm noticing a lot more news, a lot more press conferences are coming to light I'm really excited to see the rules, though. That's what I want to see. What are the rules?
Did you see the overtime rules?
Yeah, that did look cool. I don't know the specifics, though.
I don't know if I like it.
But it looks different.
Yeah. Have you seen them, Armand? Did you see it, Armand?
I have seen them. Yeah, but for the audience who may not know, can you talk about it real quick?
Yeah.
I don't. Ben, you might know more than me.
That's a general statement. It's true.
Yes.
So,
yes. You bastard.
So
goes the
basically what they're going to do is they're going to have both teams, offense and defense, on the field at the same time. So they're going to start, I don't know if it was the 2-yard line or the 5-yard line, but you're going to get 5 plays. So you get 5 plays on both ends, and they're going on at the same time. And however many times you score, you get that amount of points. So if you score 3 out of the 5 times, you get 3 points. If if on the other side, if they end up getting 3 points as well out of 5, then obviously you go in sudden death, like a shootout kind of thing. The first time a team scores and the other one doesn't score.
It wasn't same time, isn't it? Like turns. It's like 1, you go next, or was it literally the same time?
I thought it said at the same time. I think
how
I thought it said at the same time.
Vince is a broadcasting. Vince is a broadcasting genius, so I'd love to see how he wants to shoot something like this. Remember, a normal broadcast doesn't shoot 2 ends of the football field with 2 teams, basically. That's going to be fun, man. If they're going to have rules like that, like really push the envelope, I'm okay with it. Yeah. Like, why not? What do they got to lose?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting idea. It's really, really, really crazy. Here it is.
You got it? Hold on, I'm going to pull it up too.
Yeah, I got it. It says 44 players on the field at the same time. So
that's awesome. I love it.
Yeah, so it's going to be absolutely insane. My question would be though, like, I guess they're going to have to do it where you can't get points for like returning an interception for 2 points, like here in Atlanta against the Chiefs, we have to pick 2, where Eric Berry intercepted the 2-point conversion, returned it for a touchdown, for cost us the game. So you can't do that, which I don't think you can do that in college either. That wouldn't make sense. You can't have that because obviously if you intercepted it and ran it back, then the other team's on the field at the same time. The team is on the field. The team is on the field. Some of you guys get that reference, like Armando. But yeah, so I don't know. It's gonna be really interesting. I don't know. It's pretty risky. It's a risky thing to do it that way. It's very unique.
So I wonder then.
That's what they have to be, unique.
Yeah, I agree.
I wonder what kind of logistical questions that they're gonna have to answer then. So do you have 2 cameras, one on each end of the field, and
that's what I was.
It on TV.
That's what I'm saying. He's going to have to be really creative. And listen, that's the right guy to do it. Yeah. Don't forget, Vince is the reason the NFL looks the way it does these days because he broke ground in broadcasting with the XFL because the XFL was like, and that's what Vince knows what to do. He knows how to make sports entertainment. So if he can figure that out with football this time around, I'm excited. I don't know. Listen, AAF's dead. Here comes the XFL. What's after that?
They learned from the mistakes.
So
they were so smart to have them in front. Like you would think, like they'd have first movers advantage, but since they failed, now the XFL is in a good spot to learn from those mistakes. And I do think the contracts with the major TV networks.
But is it really a first movers advantage for the AAF when the XFL was before them anyway?
No, he means
getting on TV.
Here the AF literally took a year to develop. Yeah. And then Vince was like, the XFL originally back in 2000 took a year to develop. Vince said, I'm not doing that again. I'm doing 2 years. I'm doing a full year of development and then a full year of scouting. In the summer, they're going to be doing, in all the cities, they're going to be doing tryouts. So listen, Vince is not stupid.
Clear over the mountain.
Vince is one of the most successful American businessmen. And if there's anyone, I know that people not necessarily like his political views and whatnot, but the guy is a genius. He'll always be remembered in our culture as breaking through grounds. I want to see him do one more thing with football.
the gif of him going, oh!
Yeah, that is one of the best
ever.
You could put anything with that. It just works.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Anything. So, yeah, but I do think that the major TV contracts are absolutely huge because, like I said, like, I watched the Atlanta Legends. I went to a game. Like, I was very interested in it, but I found that, like, I couldn't watch it. It was almost always on that CBS network, and, like, I wasn't going to pay an extra $50 a month for one channel, and the way DirecTV set up, like, you can't just buy one channel. Like I wish you
No.
could, because I would have done it. So I couldn't watch it in the live stream. You could watch the live stream on the app, but you got no broadcasting. It was totally silent, and it was like a
Yeah.
field view. You got no explanation of anything. It was terrible. It was so I couldn't watch it. I would try to watch it a few times, and it was awful trying to watch it like that. So I do think getting on these contracts are big news. So
Just one note, I forgot. Do you guys remember, like right before they went under, I think the week before, they put it on YouTube Live.
yeah.
They were doing it, and that was better. I was like, okay, now you guys are doing it on fine, cool. This is much better. And then a week later they're out of a job.
Well, and that was the week of the NCAA tournament, so like nobody was watching. Everybody was watching the
Yeah.
game,
But AF was doing all right. Their Twitter accounts were moving. They were getting engagement. They were doing stuff. They're dead in the water. There's no reason to even talk about them really anymore.
Good run.
They're done.
Actually, it was terrible. But
it was a terrible run.
So moving on to some more football talk. We had some really interesting stuff going on with your Jets this week. You wanna go over that, Andy?
Yeah. Why do we always have to be involved in the media like this? It's always something. So anyway, Mike McCagnon, the Jets GM, who actually went through the draft, doing the scouting for the draft, doing the whole trade with Le'Veon Bell. With Bell and Le'Veon Bell. Sorry, and then they fired him last week. Initial reaction for me, though, as a Jets fan, I was like, well, to me, that doesn't seem ridiculous because Adam Gase seems to be coming in full on. Like, this is Adam Gase's chance to be the man. And I think Chris Johnson, the owner of the Jets, actually sees potential in Adam. I actually see more potential in Adam Gase. And he seems like he doesn't give an F, which is great. Like, he's a tough guy. I just think that they didn't, when you bring in a new coach that's a big head, and I heard that not a lot of people in the what's it called, the corporate side of things on the NFL teams like Adam Gase or get along with him. So that happened. He's fired. But there's rumors now the Jets are considering Peyton Manning to be the GM, and we know that Peyton Manning is very close to Adam Gase. He's the reason the Jets kind of hired him because they actually went to Peyton Manning for advice on Adam Gase. I don't think Peyton Manning's going to be the GM of the Jets. I think it's just like, I think it might even be newbie FUD, to be honest with you. But there's a rumor, and if Peyton Manning wants to come be the GM of the New York Jets, I have absolutely no problem with that. I would love that, to be honest with you. But do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I love it. If nothing else, the Jets need all the advertising dollars and eyeballs on their games that they can get. Peyton Manning's going to bring that. I hope he makes a jingle for the Jets on the RV with the guy with the guitar. That would be epic.
Is that Brad Paisley, I think?
Absolutely, yeah, Brad Paisley. I think it's great, though. He'll make a much better GM than Dave Gettleman. So I think it's an instant upgrade there. If I wasn't a Giants fan, I'd probably be a Jets fan right now.
Oh, wow. Well, that's not what Jet fans are thinking, though. Jet fans are all pissed off, not at the Peyton Manning thing, but they're all like, what's going on? We're a shit show. Oh, I just cursed. Sorry. Whatever.
I just found out. I was looking on Facebook.
This bastard is not a curse. Come on.
I was just looking on Facebook, and people were saying that apparently my audio was like basically non-existent, and I checked. I actually had it set to record my audio from my AirPods instead of from the microphone, so I fixed it now. So if anybody's watching, now you can hear me. So
thank God I was talking most of the time.
I always talk most of the time. So it sucks. That,
so the podcast starts now? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, it's basically what most people dream of, which is a world where I don't talk. So, it was probably great.
But long story short, I don't know. This is kind of like I'll wait and see. But as a Jets fan, I don't know why all the Jet fans are freaking out. And I think that this is another example of why I hate New York media. And they just jump on things so fast. Like, oh, they fired their GM. I'm like, everyone was just praising the Jets for doing such a great job in the offseason. Now because they fired their GM, fine. But I never liked McCagnon anyway.
Yeah, but
he didn't draft very well except the first rounders.
He's known for drafting, guess who? Hackenberg. He drafted Hackenberg.
He's not a good drafter. Besides the obvious in-your-face first-round talents, everything else second round on is terrible. But you're not going to take away your GM before the draft. You have a plan. You have a structure in place. It
would disrupt things, right?
It would be a complete crap show, like you said. So now the draft is over.
You think? I think.
Yeah,
I totally disagree with that. I think.
Shocking. You disagree.
Now we can hear you. Tell us why.
Yeah, thanks. I definitely disagree with that. And that's, a lot of people on the radio that were saying the same thing this week, that if you're going to get a new GM and you don't believe in what your GM is doing, then why in the world would you wait until after the draft and after free agency, after the draft, but before the season? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you do that?
That's a very short-sighted view. And Andy, if I may just jump in real quick.
Yeah, sorry.
It out being the token Jets fan. There's two reasons. Number one, before the draft, you have a plan, you have a setup in place. Now, there's not just the GM who's involved. You have scouts and everybody else feeding into that decision-making process. So it was kind of idiot-proof to draft Quinnen Williams number 1. A lot of pundits said he was the best pick in the draft, period. So it was kind of a can't miss there.
Well, they also said that about Dwayne Haskins, too.
I didn't hear that many people saying that. But either way, you do that before the draft, and you have the draft happens, and once it's done, then you can move on. But the second thing is that it's really tough to remove somebody from a position unless you have their replacement soon in the wings. Now, I know right now they're talking to Peyton Manning, this, that, and the other. But if you were talking with somebody, if you were courting somebody to be the replacement to McCagnon, whatever you say. McCagnon. Then you know what? If that person wasn't ready yet, or you're waiting for a contract to expire, or you're waiting for some other condition to take place, you can't get rid of X unless you have Y to come in.
But this is not standard procedure. This is not the way it's usually done. The GMs get fired at the end of the season. That's when, if a GM gets fired, they usually get fired along with the head coach.
Have somebody to replace them. Usually.
No, that's
not true.
I don't think that's true. I don't believe that.
I think Mike McCagnon knew he was being let go before the draft.
And then there again, you've got a guy in the building. It's just like when, if you've got an employee and you run a business, you've got an employee there, and the employee knows that he's getting fired. Then the best thing to do, and I've had to do this before with businesses I've ran where I had employees, which was you let them go immediately. You do not let them stay a couple weeks when you know you're going to fire them. As soon as you know you're going to fire them, you let them go, because you run the risk during that time of something happening that could result in a lawsuit. They're basically dead weight there at that point. So you just need to let them go, and you need to figure out whatever you need to do to bridge the gap to the next person. That's what you need to do, instead of having somebody in there that's dead weight, that is, you already don't trust in decisions. So what's the point of having them there? And I feel like that's the way it happens most of the time in the NFL. When we fired Mike Smith a few years ago for the Falcons, we immediately fired Mike Smith the same day, and then the next day we said, okay, we made the commitment to keep Thomas Dimitrov, which I think is stupid, but because the idea is, you fire the coach, and then you fire the GM if you're going to do it. So usually if one gets fired and the other one survives for the next week, you assume they're going to stay there, So I don't know. I don't like it at all.
It's not that crazy.
I don't know. I know where the negatives are, but I just don't think it's going to disrupt our season like people think, because the coach was brought in as the new guy.
Gase is a good coach. He had a winning record before
I'm ready for him.
Started getting injured. He's a good coach.
As a Jets fan, I played the Dolphins. I watched him be able to make what's the backup to Tannehill last season? He was on the Broncos.
Osweiler.
Osweiler comes in and he plays well. And I'm like, why is he playing so well? Because Adam Gase is a damn good quarterbacks coach and knows how to treat these guys.
Quarterback with
is he that great of a quarterback coach if you have Ryan Tannehill and couldn't even make Ryan Tannehill good? Darnold's already okay, I think. So I think he'll be fine.
Winning record with Tannehill. Look back at the numbers when he wasn't.
Tannehill's a tough quarterback.
Tannehill, a reformed quarterback, used to be wide receiver, won over 60% of his games under Gase.
I would say this.
Check the facts.
Andy Dalton is better than Ryan Tannehill.
Sure.
That's all you need to know. Andy Dalton is literally the most. Listen. Andy Dalton is probably the most average quarterback in the history of the NFL. The most average. And he's better than Ryan Tannehill. So you're never going to win a Super Bowl with Ryan Tannehill. So
will you win a Super Bowl with Darnold? Probably. Maybe. There's a good chance. He has more potential than Ryan Tannehill.
I don't know if there's a good chance, but you have a chance. You have a fighting chance.
So. That guy's 21 years old. I love the kid. I can't wait.
Matt Ryan threw a friggin' 60-yard touchdown on his first pass ever in the NFL. We were like,
that's
cash money. Cool. He's led us to a Super Bowl. He led us to an NFL championship or NFC championship. He's led us to that game twice, which is, twice as many times as we had ever been before, So it's been good, but, having a good quarterback that has a lot of potential, it certainly doesn't equate to a definite Super Bowl. People forget this.
No, I'm not saying Super Bowl next year or anything.
People forget this. The league is so competitive. Only one team wins every single year.
I know.
And there's
Really?
a lot of dynasties, you got the Packers that have been there a lot. You got the Steelers, you got the Patriots, you got the 49ers, you got the Cowboys, you got the Broncos, you got the Giants. You got a lot of these teams that have been there. It doesn't leave a lot of room for other teams to win. It's really rare that, like when the Seahawks won a few years ago, that's really rare that a big name team, doesn't win it. One of those dynasties. Those dynasties have won probably as many Super Bowls as the rest of the field combined, or it's pretty close. So it's super hard to win a Super Bowl. When you got a good quarterback, you feel like, man, we can definitely win one. And then all of a sudden you look up and your quarterback is freaking 33 years old or 32 years old, and you're like, oh, imagine if you're a Packers fan, yes, they won one with Aaron Rodgers, but they were thinking for sure dynasty, multiple Super Bowls, the whole 9 yards, and he's won one. They haven't been to the playoffs.
That's not his fault,
years.
though. Defense has been terrible.
It doesn't matter if it's his fault or not. That doesn't matter. That's not the point. The point is, when you get a super good quarterback, you feel like we're gonna win it, and it doesn't always work out like that. That's not the end all be all. It's important. You have to have a good quarterback. In the history of the NFL, there's only been 2 quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl that people would probably consider are not good quarterbacks.
Sure.
So you have to have a good one. There's also a lot of other good quarterbacks out there too.
Coach, and that's where it brings it back to Gase.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna shout out Dan Marino as one of the greatest probably quarterbacks to never win a Super Bowl. Been to a Super Bowl.
He's definitely the greatest. Not
it's crazy to me that Dan Marino never won a Super Bowl. Yeah. Unbelievable. This guy, people don't realize how good he was. I watched him play. Trust me. But this guy was a maniac.
Look at. The razor thin margin between winning a Super Bowl and not winning. Look at the Falcons.
It's hard in the football.
Look at what happened to us.
Around.
Look at what happened to us in the Super Bowl. We were that close. Could have changed history. And instead we changed it the opposite way. And then you look at quarterbacks like Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Definitely people consider 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And they both won one. So you always
Tom Brady's sitting with 6.
Well, Tom Brady is the reason that a lot of people haven't won them. So if you're a Chiefs fan, you got Patrick Mahomes, and you feel like, man, we're gonna win the Super Bowl, and then all of a sudden this year, you lost Kareem Hunt halfway through the season last year. It looks like there's a good chance you might lose Tyreek Hill also, and the Chiefs fans are already justifying like, oh yeah, but now we got Mecole Hardman from UGA as a rookie, and he's gonna replace. I've never seen anybody like Tyreek Hill.
No.
Nobody I've ever seen as a receiver is as fast as that guy. He can get open at any given. He's not even a great route runner. He's just super fast, and that's going to be a big hit to that offense. So you're looking at 2 of your top 4 weapons for last year are completely gone. We don't know. Who knows? The Chiefs might not even make the playoffs.
I think the Chiefs
in the NFL is a given. I think they'll win a Super Bowl with Mahomes eventually, maybe next year. But I'm just saying it's not guaranteed. Nothing in the NFL is guaranteed, except for the Patriots.
The first Super Bowl Tom Brady won, the next season the Patriots didn't make the playoffs.
Absolutely. That is correct. Yeah.
Let's not forget. But they are the only dynasty we could talk about in the last 20 years, of football. Dynasties in football are not the same. You can't you'll never see the Bills that went 4 years in a row. You'll never see that. Yeah. If I ever see that again, I don't know. If we bet on something, will you ever see a team go 4 Super Bowls in a row? Never. Do you think? Never. I don't know. Never.
It's hard to say.
Come on. That is impossible.
Do I think it will happen? Probably not, but who knows? The Patriots might go the next 2 Super Bowls.
Well, that's true. How many in a row have they been now?
2.
Is that 2?
Yeah, 2. They've been in 3 out of 4, but they've been in 2 in a row. So, everybody thinks Patriots are favorites again this year. Until Brady doesn't do it, they're going to be the favorites. They're the Las Vegas favorites for sure. So, I don't know if we'll see it or not, but, the league's super competitive, so, I wish your Jets luck. I would love to see a Jets-Falcons Super Bowl. Nobody else would want to see it but us, but I would
We
love
almost
to see
did,
it.
in 98.
Yeah, we almost did. Yeah, 1 game away.
One game away.
Stupid John Elway. Look, John Elway almost didn't win a Super Bowl. He didn't win a Super Bowl until his last 2 years.
And then won 2.
Yeah, he won 2 in a row. So, I mean, there's definitely been a lot of good quarterbacks, but, most of the great ones have won one, at least one.
Sure.
I mean, Peyton Manning, I mean, he really, his 2 he got, I mean, nobody would consider Eli, a super great quarterback. He had 2 of the greatest, runs of all time, but for Peyton, you can look back at his 2 Super Bowls and say, man, like, they had to come back from down 21 points against the Patriots to make that Super Bowl, the first one that they won with the Colts. And then with the Broncos, Osweiler was starting half the season. They brought Peyton Manning back in for the last couple games.
It was an elite defense. It was not because of Peyton.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you look at Peyton Manning, who, I mean, I know Brady has all of the numbers, or not the numbers. Brady has all the championships. But to me, for what I've seen with my eyes, Peyton Manning was the greatest thrower of the ball. Like some people say Marino. I was a kid when Marino was around. Ball? What's that?
The greatest thrower of the ball?
I mean,
bro.
I want to say greatest quarterback, but I don't know another way to say it because he's not the greatest quarterback because obviously
he's the most accomplished. He's the most accomplished. Most rings.
He should have won 5 or 6 Super Bowls. He went down in the playoffs.
Brady should have 3 more, but because of the NFC East.
I have a feeling Aaron Rodgers won't win a Super Bowl ever again.
No,
he's on the back. I mean, he's great. Listen, he's great. But the Packers,
the thrower of the football.
His whole team hates him. Everybody hates him.
Everyone hates him, but that's the problem with Aaron Rodgers. He became a very cocky player, and I didn't really like that turn that he turned in. That person he turned into. No offense, Aaron Rodgers. I know we're not best friends. Maybe you want to invite me for Thanksgiving.
That's okay because his family's not there because he doesn't talk to his family, so he might have room for you at the table.
Damn, man. Damn.
So, well, let's move on to basketball because we were actually going to talk about basketball, and now we only got about 10 minutes left. So let's talk about basketball. So
sorry.
I wanted to talk about this guy behind me here, Kevin Durant.
The cupcakes or the guy behind you?
This is actually the same picture.
This is the cupcakes.
The cupcake, well, actually, they're 2 different pictures. The cupcakes are what the Oklahoma City fans held up when he came back the first time to play there, So that's what that is. But
what was the meaning for that? To have cupcakes?
They said he was soft or whatever. Just,
bittersweet.
It's because they're mad at him because he left. Is all it was. So
that's true. They loved him there, man. He was like a god there.
Yeah, he was. So here's the thing. Kevin Durant gets injured. We've now learned that his injury, according to Steve Kerr, is quote unquote more serious than we thought. Which at first they thought it was very serious. He was out. Then it was like, oh, it's a strain. He'll probably come back. But I think that was smoke and mirrors. I think they knew he was done at that point. He probably will not be back for the entire playoffs. Who knows? Maybe, like a Game 7, like Willis Reed moment or something. If they're playing the Bucks, and they will be playing the Bucks in the championship. But so here's a question: you've got Kevin Durant, who people consider to be the best player in the league, and the Warriors are mopping the floor with. They have not lost a game since he went down. They, if you remember, struggled against the Clippers with him and struggled against the Rockets with him for the 2 games that were in Houston. And, then as soon as he gets injured in Game 5, Steph Curry turns it on, and then the second game, Game 6 against the Rockets, scores 33 points in the second half after 0 in the first half. And the question is, did the Warriors ever even really need Durant? And does this hurt his value or the way people see him around the league if your team can just keep on ticking like you're not even there?
Well, I'll go first. They already have proved that they could win a championship without him. Did they win 2 without him, or won 1 without him?
They won 1, and then Draymond Green got suspended in Game 5 when they were up 3-1 against the Cavs. And if Draymond Green plays that game, they probably win that game. And then, of course, you never know. But that was a huge thing in the series. And in Game 7, if you guys remember, Kyrie hit that 3-pointer. And, they're basically a Kyrie 3-pointer away from going for their 5th championship in a row right now.
Yeah, I listen, and Durant's amazing. We were just talking about Oklahoma City. I was disappointed when he left Oklahoma City because he really like owned that team. That was him. I know, besides the Westbrook issues and stuff, but I honestly think that I think they're going to play. They might even play better when Durant goes down. You know, they're going to be forced to be the way they were. You know, the way they played. And Curry can step up. Come on, the guy's got a great. I don't know.
He was back-to-back MVP before Durant came there.
Yeah, like the whole move, the Durant move felt like even though he was younger than like what Carmelo did with the Lakers, he just wanted to like get his ring already.
It felt like it was a little extra. It was a little extra. You know, him coming over there.
It was. So is it, so they don't know if he's out yet, or is it kind of like day to day?
They haven't said. I mean, he's definitely not traveling or with the team right now. And he definitely, I mean, this is going to be a 4-game series. So, unless Toronto can win tonight, that might be a 4-game series as well.
I want to watch that.
But the thing is that it doesn't matter because the finals already have a set schedule. So if these can be 4-game series, I believe that they'll have, about a week off before it starts. So, they haven't said for sure he's out indefinitely, which obviously means we don't know how long he's going to be out. That usually is a bad sign. That usually means that they won't be coming back. But, we don't know.
Listen, Durant going to the Warriors was more about the Warriors getting their butts handed to them, choking, if you want to call it that, losing to the Cavs, them going back home and think, Daddy, we got beat by big bad LeBron. Can we get our cousin Kevin to come play on our team? And so the Hamptons 5 flew all the way out to the Hamptons to meet with Kevin Cupcake Durant. Can you come play with us?
Wait, don't you want him on your team next year? Don't you want? Wait, hold on.
No.
I'm going to keep begging for him to come to your team next year.
Come back to that. Hold that thought. We'll come back to it.
Okay.
So they go and recruit him at the Hampton 5 and go bring what they needed to effectively become the greatest luxury item in NBA history.
Yeah.
They play small ball. They pass better than anybody. Okay, rapid ball movement. They flow. They're phenomenal. They have the best shooting backcourt in the history of the NBA. Arguably the best backcourt ever.
Steph Curry is the greatest shooter we've ever seen by far.
He is. Absolutely.
By far.
And so you have all of that. He comes in and you're adding, you already take one of the best restaurants on planet Earth and you add a 5-star Michelin Sagat rated chef. Every single dish is going to be perfect or should be perfect because that's the expectations. When that 5-star chef leaves, if Gordon Ramsay leaves your kitchen, you still have a great restaurant, but there's less stress because it's not all eyes on, right? So they can be more relaxed. They can play more of that stress-free basketball, and they're going to continue to win and dominate. That said, do I think it hurts his trade value? Absolutely not. You know who I am. I'm KD. You know who I am. People know who he is. He can still drop 35.
He's gained over the last couple of years.
He can drop 35 without thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? So he'll be fine. The Warriors will be fine. But no, I don't think he's going to the Lakers. And
no, he's not going to the Lakers.
I'll leave it at that.
Oh God, this whole go to Lakers thing is getting old. I'm out here. I know you're a Lakers fan.
No one's going to the Lakers.
I'm not. Oh, he is.
No, I'm kind of a Lakers fan too. I support them and stuff, but I'm like, I still stand by my LeBron coming to the Lakers was a bad move. But
I think actually, to be honest with you, I think there's a good chance he gets traded.
I don't think he should stay in LA. I don't know.
Magic was the reason why he went out there. Magic is gone. LeBron was mad about that. Their coach now is Frank Vogel because Ty Lue turned it down because they're forcing Jason Kidd as the top assistant. And Ty Lue thought that'd be karma since that's what he did to David Blatt in Cleveland.
Right.
They made him the number one assistant, and then he ends up taking his job. I think he knew that was probably going to happen here. And I don't know, so could the Lakers trade LeBron, to the Pelicans for the number one pick, and then Anthony Davis would stay there. So he'd still get to play with Anthony Davis, be, in New Orleans with the Pelicans, and then maybe the Lakers could end up getting Zion. They trade the 4th and LeBron or something like that for number 6.
That's honestly a good place for LeBron, in my opinion. I would like that.
LeBron's not going to win in LA. I mean,
at this point,
it's over.
No. Yeah.
His decisions are no longer purely basketball motivated.
Yeah, I agree.
He's family motivated, different stage of his career. He's in mogul stage, to quote Colin Cowherd, that jerk who thinks Bitcoin's a bad investment, whatever.
Did he say something? I don't want to get down that rabbit hole.
Several times. But anyway, at the end so LeBron chose LA, not just because of Magic, but because he had a second or third house there. His kids know the area. The wife wanted to get out of, cold, snowy Cleveland. They're in a beautiful place. The kids are in school. He's not going to relocate unless he absolutely is forced to. But he's not going anywhere. He might play that's an option, but they're not going to force him out. Because if he goes, Who's watching the Lakers?
No, I don't think they're gonna force him out. I think that
He waived his no trade clause.
Everything you're saying is true. Everything you're saying is true. However, I think we know that LeBron is vengeful. We know that. We've seen it over and over again with a lot of the way that he's done business, against Dan Gilbert. Even when he went back there, like he still held that against him, You said he tried to separate what he was doing for the city from what he was doing, with the owner and stuff like that. And we've seen him say a lot of stuff, he got this vendetta against Donald Trump. He said a ton of things about him. I mean, he's not the only person, but, he holds stuff against people and he remembers stuff. And the way that everything went down with the Lakers and Magic Johnson, even though I agree with you, he went out there with hopes of, being in movies and stuff, which I didn't even know this. Me and my kids were watching this movie a couple weeks ago, Smallfoot. It's an animated cartoon about a Yeti.
I saw. I was curious about that.
LeBron is in that movie. LeBron has a pretty big role in that movie as an animated character, and I didn't even know it until when we're watching animated movies with the kids. I always pull up the IMDb to see the voices, and I was like, oh my gosh, LeBron is in this movie, So he's already to some extent been doing that. He's probably got more coming, but because of the way everything went down, he may change his mind on that in the temporary. That's my thought on it. So we have so much drama going on there. He doesn't like the young players. All the young players know that he wanted them traded. And I do not believe, even though I want Anthony Davis, I don't know if I want Kyrie. He's played with LeBron before, so I would take Kyrie. There's some other, free Kawhi Leonard. I don't think any of those guys are going to LA. I don't think there's going to be a single big name free agent, even though I want it. Trust me, I'm hoping to everything we do. But I believe LA will not get a single big name free agent in the offseason. And LeBron's time is going to be totally wasted there.
They're a crap show from the top down. And as
100%.
long as Linda Rambis is pulling the strings and Kobe Bryant, by way of his agent, I forget his name now, the GM there, they're the ones that are listening or filling the ear of Jeannie Buss. She's not running that organization. People are running it through her. She's not doing the job the way her dad did.
I wish
and
Kobe
she's
would
running
be
it
the
into the
GM.
ground.
I wish they would put Kobe as a GM. I would love that.
He would do a better job.
That?
No, I don't think he would. So I mean, yeah.
Article just came out saying they're not replacing Magic's position.
Who said? Oh, wow.
Recent article on ESPN. Go figure. And who knows? That could be just smoke and mirrors, but it's a whole crap show from the top down, and that's why I think more than anything, players don't want to come there. There's no stability.
Yeah.
Every major successful sports franchise has great management from the top down, and the Lakers haven't had that since Dr. Buss died.
It's sad.
And he loved the Lakers. Like, he was beloved by the Laker fans. He loved them since he started owning them,
Yeah. And
hard to lose an owner like that.
The sibling rivalry stuff between the two Buss kids there. I can't. Jeannie Buss and what's the other?
No, she fired the brother.
Yeah, finally.
The brother I don't really hear much about. Jeannie is all over the radio.
That's because he's been gone now for a couple of years. But he was for a lot of years he was a big problem. So and I think now it's just we're still feeling reverberating effects from that. And look at what happened with what's the point guard's name that went to the Nets? What's his name?
Oh, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
From the Lakers?
Yeah, we traded him. I can't.
D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, D'Angelo Russell. He was terrible with the Lakers. He sucked. I remember get this clown out of town. He was terrible. He was the number 3 pick or something like that. We shipped him off to Brooklyn. Now he's playing at all-star level. So. I mean, I don't know. There's something going on out there that's toxic. It may be Jeannie Buss. I don't know what it is.
Rob Pelinka.
Rob Pelinka. There's definitely something toxic going on in LA. And so I don't know. They got the number 4 pick. That's one good thing that happened from the NFL or NBA draft. They moved up from the number 11 spot to the number 4 spot. The Knicks got the 3 spot. Obviously, Pelicans got the number 1 spot. Grizzlies got the 2. So they moved up, which was good for them. It was bad for the home team, Atlanta Hawks. They got bumped all the way from number 5 all the way to number 8, and then they got the Mavericks pick at 10. The Hawks could have had the 1st pick and the 6th pick. That was the best case scenario. Worst case scenario was only the number 9 pick. Ended up with the 8 and 10. So it been very disappointing for the city here. But the NBA draft was pretty interesting. The problem is, like, even though the Lakers got the number 4, is there's really like 3 really good players in this draft, in my opinion, and then after that, it's a crapshoot. So even though they got the number 4, like, I don't know, they probably got as good of a chance at making, as having that guy at number 4 do well as they would if they got a guy at number 7.
After
right?
Zion, John Morant, and JT Barrett, who is there? But
Cam Reddish, DeAndre Hunter from Virginia. There's some decent players. There's some good players. The guy from Texas Tech, can't remember his name right now. There's some good players, but there's not a lot of But this is kind of a byproduct of the way that NCAA has worked with the one and done players. Is you never know who they are. You don't have time to get to learn them or to know them because they're leaving after 1 year. The best players are so.
True.
Yeah, and none of us watch college basketball till the tournament, right?
I don't really watch college basketball in general.
Yeah, you don't even watch tournament, do you?
I mean, I used to be into it. I'm not a huge college basketball guy like I used to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. Although I played a ton of NCAA basketball video games, which I loved. And then they got rid of those.
Yeah, which also has an impact on people recognizing players,
Yeah, no, I actually knew a lot more because I was playing those NCAA, those games. I love those games, and they just stopped making them,
Yeah.
So that's another problem for me. But no, I love basketball. I just never was a huge college guy. And now it just seems like players are just leaving now. It's like college basketball is just not as great as it was in the early 90s, man, or the 90s when
they need to change.
They need to do something.
They need to change the entry rules for players to the NBA, I think.
I'm surprised they haven't.
The one and done is terrible. I think what they need to do is they need to change it to either, you can still come to the NBA straight from high school. If you're ready and you get drafted and that's what you want to do, then you can do that. If you don't get drafted, then you can still go to college. I think that's what they should do. And then they should do a minimum 2 years. If you start college, you cannot come to the NBA until after 2 years.
Or have them go to the G League in between. Still play.
What's the last great basketball player in the NBA that played all his college years and graduated college? Can you name one?
Joakim Noah.
Okay.
Yeah, Joakim Noah. That's the first one.
He hasn't a degree. Now he has a degree.
Oh, he definitely played all 4 years. I mean, that's how they won back to back. Because he didn't need the NBA. He could have came out after his junior year and been the number 1 pick. I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he could have. I think that's right. I think he did go all 4 years because his dad was a professional tennis player and they're like super loaded rich and he's like, I don't need money. I'll keep playing. I like playing at college. So I remember that was a big story. That's one person I can think of. I mean, there's got to be some if we look back.
But the problem is that we can't name them. That's where it's just
Tim Duncan only went to Wake Forest for 3 years. Like, it's not that common to go all 4.
No, yeah. Well, because if you're going all 4 years, then almost any player who has the potential to go on to the NBA after any year that they think they can do it, they're going to do it because they want that money and they don't want to freaking go to class, So, but
by the way,
go ahead.
Talking about like players that get educated, Curtis Martin, the running back, he got an honorary doctorate.
I saw that,
which is great. Like, I like seeing these athletes care about their education, especially if they're in college. The guys from high school too. That's a whole nother story. But if you're in college, it's really cool to know that the ones that care about their education and it's also cool when you hear these players go back to get their degrees. I don't know if it could ever happen, but do you imagine there was a bonus in a rookie contract if you happen to go graduate with a degree in college? Would that sounds a little ridiculous, but if there was some type of bonus for the player in some fashion to keep them in college, I just think that it would make college basketball so much better if like they actually had these players that will be NBA players.
There's one thing that can be done that I feel like needs to be done, and I can't remember if this is in the works, if they're talking about it or whatever, but if you declare for the NBA draft, if you don't get drafted, you can go back to school. There's no reason to force these kids out, if they don't get drafted, like they got these agents telling them, oh, you can go in, you're going to be a superstar, you're going to get drafted in the first round. They're lying to them. Because they know even if they get drafted in the second round, then they're going to make money, so they're trying to push them out so you can go ahead and get that money. And, there's only how many teams are in the NBA? 30? I think there's 30. So there's only 60 players that get drafted out of the whole NCAA. Only 60. So, a lot of those guys are moving too early, and they're not getting drafted. Then they're forced out of college, so they have to try to, just get on a team as an undrafted free agent, which a lot of them do. But if they had the option to go back to college, then, that would be a lot better for them. So.
And this has been the thing is that this has been a topic for so many years. It's almost like, who cares? It's almost like they don't care anymore, you know? It's like, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, let me tell you who's going to care. Who's going to care is the NCAA tournament getting worse and worse and worse ratings every year.
Every year, yeah.
College basketball becoming totally irrelevant because you have no, that's why we have a draft where you got three good players. Zion Williamson obviously is like the second coming of, LeBron or whatever, like he's definitely, like Andrew Luck in the NFL, like definitely going to be a superstar. We don't see that all the time. Like when the Hawks had the number 2 overall draft pick several years ago, it was like Andrew Bogut or Marvin Williams. That was the choice, and they both turned into mediocre at best players, so it's rare you have a draft like this, kind of like Anthony Davis, that seemed like he was going to be a sure shot player or whatever. So we don't see a lot of really good players because they're leaving too early and they're not getting their potential. You see these guys at Kentucky that are one and done, and like this year, Kentucky, how far they make it? Like maybe the Sweet 16, I think, or Elite 8, wherever they made it. Like, it's not that they did that great. The players weren't playing that incredible because they're only there for 1 year, So the quality is terrible. Your average fan knows it, and that's why we don't watch college basketball until the tournament. I used to watch college basketball,
I did too. A long time ago.
Yeah.
Like
outside of the tournament. I used to it's a Saturday, there's a game on, I'll watch it, but it's just gotten so bad. The one and done rule was the worst rule ever instituted, because it's just you cannot keep up with who the players are, So when every year you got a new superstar in college basketball you've never even heard of, when the second best player in the whole NCAA is playing for Murray State, that tells you everything you need to know right there,
No love for Cinderella. No love.
No. So, all right, guys. Well, I guess that's going to wrap it up. Do you guys got some 30 seconds to fame here? 30 seconds to glory? I'm going to go last.
Okay, I'll go first. I saw Detective Pikachu.
Oh.
How was it?
I want to just straight up, this is my main point here, is that the movie was fine. It was entertaining. But my main point, I was disappointed while watching it because it was another victim of like everything I saw in the trailer was the shocking moments. And I was like, why did you guys show me all these Pokemon and not like save a few of them for more of a reveal? I'm a big Pokemon guy, right? So what my main point is I hate how Hollywood is just showing too much in the trailer, like tease me a little bit. Like Endgame did a great job of confusing you. You had no idea what was going on really in the Endgame trailer. But as a movie that I was super pumped to see, it was super disappointing because I feel like the trailer spoiled it. Maybe that's my fault. I got to stop watching trailers. But why would I stop watching trailers? I love fucking trailers. I mean, I curse. I'm sorry. But anyway, that's my rant just about trailers and how I hate how it ruins it for me. So Detective Pikachu was definitely not a favorite movie of mine because of that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, church boys. You mad at me?
We forgive. Because
I'm a Jersey boy, I'm trying to hold
New
it.
York, geographic location, relevant. No. So my 30 seconds. Here we go. People are sleeping on the Milwaukee Bucks. They play phenomenal defense. Giannis is a freak. 2 steps to the basket from nearly the 3-point line, and he's already at the rim. Incredible footwork. Just a monster down low. Rim protector, ball handler. He's increasing his range from the key to beyond the arc. He is, I believe, going to be LeBron James 2.0, better in every way. But the biggest thing that I love about Giannis, who now is officially my favorite basketball player on the planet.
Oh, wow.
It's official. And he has the makings. He could be an all-time great if everything keeps arcing the way it's supposed to. He is humble. He is aggressive. He's willing to work hard. He doesn't complain. He is the antithesis of the modern-day superstar athlete. And I can't say enough good things about him. I believe they're going to give the Golden State Warriors their run for their money, and the Warriors are going to run into a buzzsaw, and they're going to learn to fear the deer.
Nice.
Funny you say this. People are sleeping on the Golden State Warriors. So earlier in the playoffs, there was this thought that the Golden State Warriors were vulnerable because they don't care or because they're apathetic. And they struggled against the Clippers. Ever since then, they've turned it on. The Rockets were a good team. They won a couple games at home. But in my opinion, the Golden State Warriors are, definitely going to be one of the greatest dynasties we've ever seen. This run is not over after this year. When Durant leaves, guess what they have? A ton of money that they didn't have before. There will be another player or maybe two players that come in. I think this team is going to stay together for a while. And get used to it, whether you like it or not. The Warriors are going to be the team to beat for a long, long time still to come. Obviously, Michael Jordan and the Bulls, they won 6 championships out of 8 years. If he wouldn't have retired, they could have won 8 in a row. They probably would have, honestly. So I don't know if the Golden State Warriors can quite, match that feat. But I think Steph Curry and Klay Thompson have a great shot to end their careers with more rings than Michael Jordan. That's your 30 seconds.
No pun intended. Great shot.
God, he's so... You know what? Those two guys, both of them. Now, Steph Curry's a little more consistent than Klay Thompson is, but when Klay Thompson gets on fire, he's more on fire than any player we've ever seen shooting threes. But the way that those two guys shoot the ball, their footwork, the way they'll just, all of a sudden hop behind... it's so fast. They just hop behind the line. Shots. Any other player in the NBA, any other player other than maybe James Harden, you would say... That's a terrible shot. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
And they make them consistently. It's so unbelievable to watch. And it's also very, very interesting to watch Steph Curry's parents during this series against the Blazers because, Seth Curry is on the Trailblazers and they're about to get swept up. So
it might be a gentleman's sweep. Maybe Portland wins one at home if they're feeling a little feisty.
No, they gave up during the game last night. You could see it. Yeah, they're done. They know they're done. You can see it in the press conference. I say 0% chance it goes 5 games. We'll see, though. Maybe. It's a hard place to play. It's a great arena. So, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. You guys got anything else?
Oh, I thought we ended the recording already. I thought we were just chopping it up. We weren't done?
Oh, we didn't start? Wait, did we start the show?
No.
I thought we're about to start. Was that the warm-up?
Yeah. No, that was spring training. Yeah. Spring football.
All right. Let's do live now.
Okay.
No, it was fun. I'm glad that we got it's always fun to talk sports, and I think the summer's always a kind of weird spot for sports, but once we hit that fall, oh boy.
Oh, yeah, it's the down.
We got the finals coming up.
None of us are super into baseball, which is all that's really going on right now other than the playoffs. And, as good as the NBA finals are to watch, it's like every finals, 3 days, These
finals are going to be good.
It's going to be great, fun. But there's nothing else going on. Now at least we still got almost a game every day, but that's going to, finals are over 2 weeks, so you got a lot of days where you don't have games. And who knows, it could be 4 or 5 game series even then. I predict
no.
It could
it's
be.
It's going to go 6 or 7.
It could be. We don't know that.
No,
we don't know that. A lot of people believe that the Blazers would beat the Warriors without Kevin Durant.
Drugs.
I agree with you. I think it's totally stupid. I think it will go 6 or 7 games. I do agree. So there you go. Walking
Shout
Dead.
out to The Walking Dead. We were talking about it before. Yeah. I like the comic more. Sorry.
So okay, guys, that's all we got. We will talk to you guys next week.
See you guys.
See ya.